So today I'm going to reveal what species of tarantula I'm putting in the paludarium. Welcome to the Tarantula Collective. My name is Richard, and if you enjoy videos on tarantulas and other exotic pets, make sure you subscribe and don't forget to hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications. That way you're alerted every time I upload new content in the future. Now, about a month ago, I set up a paludarium and posted some pictures of it in the community section of my YouTube channel, as well as on Instagram and in my Facebook group. I also gave you a sneak peek of that enclosure in a recent video where I kind of give you a tour of the tarantula room. But before I show you that enclosure, I have a few thank yous I need to send out there. First of all, I had a fundraiser for the Harmony House Child Advocacy Center, and you guys really put up some big numbers. I had set the goal around $500, thought if we could raise, $500 for this good cause by selling some stickers I had laying around, that would be doing something really awesome. But you guys blew right past that goal, and I was able to donate today $1,250 to the Harmony House. So thank you all so much for your support and helping out with this nonprofit fundraiser. If you missed out on it, I guarantee we'll be doing it again next Halloween, so just keep an eye out for it. Recently, I got some things in the mail that I wasn't able to open up on camera, but I wanted to show you all and make sure I say thanks to the people that sent these items out to me. So first off, I got this nice coffee mug from 8 Legs and 4 Wheels. He's got a YouTube channel. If you want to check that out, I will leave a link for him down below in the description. So thank you so much, dude, for these stickers and coffee mugs. I really appreciate it. Next up, I got this a while ago. These are a couple stickers and a magnet that was sent out to me from Amy at Pet Rock and Roll. She also has a very cool YouTube channel, so if you want to check that out, I'll be sure to leave a link down below in the description. And she's also one of the admins of a Facebook group just for Balfouri communals. It's called the Balfouri Communal Club. She sent me a sticker for them as well. So thank you so much, Amy. I really appreciate that. Now, these stickers also came from one of my favorite people out there who's also a YouTuber. Her name is JoJo. Her channel is JoJo's Exo Cavern. She sent me some stickers, and some of her friends over in the UK sent me some stickers as well. So thank you so much, JoJo. I'll make sure to leave a link for your channel down below in the description as well. Also got some stickers from Lee's Creature Features, another YouTube channel that I'll link down below in the description. So make sure you check him out. Thank you, thank you, Lee, for the stickers. I appreciate them. And finally, I got some stickers from Alternate Inverts. He also sent me a t-shirt and a lanyard and a few other things. So huge thanks to you all. I really enjoy your channel. Most of these channels that send me stickers are live streaming every Saturday for the Tarantula Tubers Saturday Night Takeaway. Be sure you check it out. It's a lot of fun. They're going for like 5-6 hours usually, talking tarantulas and life and all kinds of stuff. So be sure you drop in and say hello sometime. Now next, I got this in the mail just a few days ago from Danny over at Keeper Cards. And if you're unfamiliar with what keeper cards are, I actually did a video on it earlier in the year that I'll link up above me, so you can check that out. But this is the Tarantula Starter Pack that he sent me a while ago. It has all kinds of beginner species in here, and they're nice because they have pictures of the tarantula as well as some information on where they came from and how to keep them. So check out that video if you want more information. But today we're gonna open up this box that he sent me. It's the big, the bad, and the bold. It's like a second deck or expansion pack kind of thing he's got going on. The Kickstarter just launched on November 1st, and it will be going till the end of November. I'll leave a link for his website down below in the description as well, so make sure you jump on that Kickstarter because these things are awesome. But let's get it opened up and see what it's going to look like. This is the official expansion pack. That's what it says right here. It's an early release, so it's not exactly the one you'll be getting through the Kickstarter, because I think he's got to make a few corrections and update a few stuff, but it'll give you a good idea as to what it is you're going to be getting. Well, thank you so much, Danny. Those cards look awesome. Be sure to listen to the Exotic Pet Collective podcast I have coming out. When is that podcast? On November 12th, where I sit down for a few hours and talk to Danny and just Get the whole history of keeper cards and how he makes them and just all kinds of cool information. You can find that on my other YouTube channel, The Exotic Pet Collective, or you can download it anywhere you listen to podcasts. Now this next beauty came in a few weeks ago, and unfortunately I was not able to unbox it on camera. The day it came in, I was working and picked it up and brought it home, had a bunch of stuff going on in my personal life, and I just needed to get the tarantula unpacked and in its enclosure as quickly as possible so I could deal with what was going on. But even though I wasn't able to unbox it on camera, I still wanted to show you guys because this is a beautiful, beautiful tarantula. This was sent to me from Nate over at microwilderness.com. He's an amazing tarantula dealer, and he just got in this huge Mexican import, and he sent me this beautiful Lampropelma auratum to say thanks for all the support that I've shown him and everyone that watches my channel. He's very appreciative and wants to thank all of you all. And I'll leave a link to his website down below in the description as well. All right, so now what you all have been waiting for. It's time to move this tarantula into its new home. Now, if you don't know what a paludarium is, I'm going to explain it to you real quick. I first saw a paludarium a few years ago at the North American Reptile Breeders Conference in Tinley Park. As soon as I walked in the door of the convention, ZooMed had this beautiful booth set up and had one on display, and I thought it was amazing. Typically it's for more of your reptiles, but since I saw it, I've been trying to figure out a way to use it for a tarantula. I thought it would just make a beautiful centerpiece enclosure. Now what a paludarium is an enclosure that essentially has 3 different levels. Your bottom level is kind of like a fish tank. This enclosure in particular holds about 4 gallons of water. So you could put fish or some kind of amphibian or anything that's really aquatic could live down in that bottom part. The second level is kind of like the ground floor. It takes up about half the depth of the enclosure. Essentially, it's kind of just like the floor of the forest. And then it has another like 8 to 10 inches of space for an arboreal. I've seen a lot of people use these for different types of geckos and snakes and all kinds of different reptiles and amphibians, but I've never seen one actually set up for a tarantula. Part of the reason is that most species of tarantula prefer more arid conditions. In fact, it can actually be very disastrous to have an enclosure that's too humid. But there are some arboreal tarantulas that do appreciate a little more humidity. So I went through the list of what species could potentially be kept in there. The first one that came to my mind was the Lampropelma or Omathymus violecepes. That species does appreciate it when it's warmer and more humid. But the reason I didn't think it would be a good fit for this enclosure is because even though they're arboreal, they do really enjoy burrowing as well. In fact, all of my specimens dig pretty deep and then just come out of that burrow and walk around the top of the enclosure at night to hunt. Now, when I asked you all to guess what species you thought I'd be putting in this enclosure, I got a lot of comments from people suggesting the H. gigas. But it's essentially the same issue there. That species really likes to burrow, so not only would it need the depth of substrate to dig into, but it would also be dumping a lot of substrate out, possibly into the water. Even though I understand why you would make that guess, since that species has been observed actually fishing, but unfortunately that's not going to work with this enclosure. I also considered a few different species of Postletharian. I thought that a pokey would really thrive in the conditions present in a paludarium, and I was really leaning towards a Postletharian Metallica. But the reason I didn't go that route is because of all the pokies that I have, they are all very reclusive. They spend the majority of their time hidden in their cork bark or in their burrows, just kind of hidden away, and you can't really see them. And the whole purpose of this enclosure was to be a showpiece, like a centerpiece of my collection, and I really wanted to get a tarantula in there that was going to be on display a lot of the time. So after going back and forth on a bunch of different species and talking to a lot of people in the hobby, getting other people's opinions and thoughts, whose experience I respect a lot, the species that I settled on is my Carabina versicolor or Antilles pinktoe tarantula. And I chose this species for a few reasons. One, they can tolerate a little higher humidity and warmer environment as long as you provide them with good air circulation. Secondly, because they're on display all the time and they're gorgeous to look at. And most importantly, it's because this species, or at least my specimen, spends most of its time at the very top of its enclosure, rarely coming down to the ground. So I thought this would be a perfect fit. Now I am going to have to keep an eye on this enclosure and make sure it doesn't get too humid, and there is a possibility the tarantula will web up the top of the enclosure so much the light won't be able to penetrate the webbing and the plants will end up dying because they're not getting enough light. There's no guarantee this is going to work and be its long-term enclosure, but I really just want to try it out, see how it goes, and hopefully it works out well. So I'm going to move my Carabina versicolor from its current enclosure into this large enclosure. Now I purchased this paludarium on my own. I happened to stop at a pet store outside of my area because my local pet store doesn't have any cool enclosures like this. And I saw they had this paludarium on display and for sale, so I went ahead and picked it up while I had the opportunity. But there were a few things that I was needing or wanting that wasn't included in that complete package. One of the things was the Paludarium water heater, and I also wanted to add a waterfall feature to the enclosure. So I reached out to my friends over at ZooMed, explained what I was wanting to do, and asked if there was any way they could help me out. And they were nice enough to send me out a package that included the ZooMed Naturalistic Terrarium Waterfall Kit and the ZooMed Paludarium Heater 25. They were even cool enough to throw in some extra pieces of cork bark, some creature soil, and a few other fake plastic plants that I'm going to be using in other enclosures in the near future. I wanted the waterfall to be as realistic and unobtrusive as possible, since a lot of noise and vibration can stress out a tarantula. Now, I've been working on this for over a month because I wanted to make sure all the plants were growing, the fish tank in the bottom was thriving, and the waterfall was operating properly. And one thing I noticed was that with the waterfall running constantly, the humidity was much higher in the enclosure. So I had a clever idea to get around this issue. On the same rack as this enclosure, I keep my king snakes and ball pythons, and all their heat pads are hooked up to a thermometer. One of those thermostats actually has 3 plugs. So what I did is plug the waterfall pump into that thermostat. So anytime the temperature drops below a specific range in my snake enclosure, that thermostat turns the power on to that outlet, warming up the enclosure, but also kicking on the waterfall. So every few hours, the waterfall will kick on for about 5 minutes or so, and then be off the majority of the time. So it's working out really well. And what I decided to put in the aquarium, since I'm not a big aquarium fish kind of guy, was something simple. So I went with a snail and a betta fish. Tank's been going for about 3-4 weeks now. The betta fish is thriving. Everything seems to be working out really well. And I think it's ready to move in the tarantula. Now, as time goes on, I will be sure to keep you all updated with the status of this enclosure and let you know how everything works out. Especially if things don't work out and the tarantula just doesn't seem happy in that setup, I'll be sure to let you know so you don't make the same mistakes that I did. If you have suggestions for other tarantula species that you think would go great in an enclosure like this, make sure to tell me about it down below in the comments. Now, as some of you all have noticed, a lot of my videos, especially the older ones, I've been translating the subtitles into other languages. Initially, I was focusing on Spanish, but I've also got a few videos translated into Russian. But one of the viewers reached out to me and offered to translate some of the subtitles of my videos into Dutch. So I want to give a huge shout out and thanks to Yannick for translating from English to Dutch. And I want to let you all know if you need any help translating from English to Dutch or from Dutch to English, to be sure to reach out to him. He is on Fiverr, and I will leave a link to his profile down below in the description. So thanks a lot, Yannick, for your help. Well, thank you all for watching. I appreciate your support. Subscribe if you want to see more content. Thanks for buying Tarantula Collective merchandise, and I will see you next Tuesday.